Welcome to the Game Haus Overwatch League recap. Today we'll be covering Week 3's Day 3 of Stage 2. If you missed any of these games, sit back and relax while we catch you up. The first match of the day was a grudge match between London Spitfire and their previous kryptonite, the Boston Uprising. The Uprising had a huge bright spot at the tail end of Stage 1, but they haven't looked so great since they didn't make the Stage 1 playoffs. Meanwhile, the Spitfire has looked like a top team since the very beginning, and they haven't let up. Hanamura set a precedent for the high-level play of these two teams. Boston unleashed their traditional aggressive defense, but couldn't stop London from finishing the map. They matched Spitfire on their offense, but they weren't able to get point A the second time around. Spitfire cleaned up and claimed the first map of the series. Striker plays fast and loose, and almost always gets away with it. He brought his highlight reel more footage in the first point of Nepal, securing it for the Uprising. Boston showed us some excellent coordination on the second control point too, but all London needed was one good attack to let their defensive prowess take over and win them the point. Boston got an enormous early percentage lead in Sanctum, but Prophet's Tracer pulled out a crazy last-minute capture and secured a 2-win lead for London in the series. London have looked incredible on Hollywood prior to this match, and nothing had changed against the Uprising. Only really losing a single fight, the Spitfire took all 3 points like the professionals they are. The Boston team pulled out a clutch third point as well, but London still holds the crowns for the Kings of Clutch, and pulled it out in the second round. Boston couldn't topple the Giants this time, but they sure have looked stronger than they have so far in Stage 2. London's consistency makes them a terror in the later maps of the series. Their offense only had gotten better throughout the series, and their watch point attack was very strong. Boston were able to hold them off at times, but it looked more like London were playing with their food than Boston actually defending well. A core strength of the Uprising is how they consistently turn bad situations into good ones. After repeatedly getting wiped on point A, they managed to get it with less than 10 seconds remaining and push through to only barely get denied right next to point C. New York vs. Philadelphia was super hyped up before the match. The Philadelphia Fission are no more, and now they're building up more energy than ever. Or so we thought. Volkskaya gave us a glimpse of New York's strengths. They started out by attempting a tailored strategy to a Sombra defense, but immediately swapped to dive when they couldn't see the hero being played. Being a very strategic and execution-focused team, they took a quick point A capture. Point B was a little tougher, but after a couple drawn-out fights, they secured both points with 4 minutes banked. The Fusion also grabbed both points, but their time-baked disadvantage was a bit too much for them, and they lost the first map. Nepal was next. The Fusion desperately needed to win this one. Going 0-2 down against New York is a scary ordeal unless you're the London Spitfire. They managed to get the second map, but lost the map 1-2 in the end. Excelsior's offense on King's Row was equally impressive as it was in Volkskaya. They took the good fights and left the bad, getting all 3 points. Philly weren't as impressive, but ended up getting all 3 as well. They were also only able to get the first point in the second round, making New York's cleanup job easier than playing a second grader in tic-tac-toe. Excelsior won the series, going up 3-0. The back-and-forth composition swaps on Route 66 could potentially give us some insight into the future of Overwatch professional play, as both teams continually tried to counter each other. The second round was again the deciding factor, as Philadelphia finally found some footing and won a map. They only lost the series 1-3. Florida Mayhem have looked better and better very slowly over the course of the season, and the Outlaws have been very shaky since the playoffs. Mayhem took both points on Hanamura with some great coordination. However, Houston had to one-up them and took the second point almost 2 minutes faster. In a very clutch moment of quality play by the Mayhem, they won the map in the second round and went up 1-0 over the Stage 1 third-place team. Mayhem showed their zoning process on Lijiang, able to take the first map and keep the Outlaws corralled enough to go up 2-0 in the series. The Outlaws are apparently really good at rallying during halftime. They came out swinging on Hollywood, not letting Florida get to the point B. They efficiently mopped up their opponents on offense too, bringing the reverse sweep dream at 1-2. Florida Mayhem had some solid plays on offense at Gibraltar, but didn't quite manage to get the third point. Jake rallied his troops and completed the map, tying up the series 2-2. Houston weren't super happy with a 2-2 against a single-win team, but if they wanted to save face, they had to win the last game of the series. Momentum is so important in a long series, and Houston had it going into the last map. After resetting at halftime, they seemed to have reset to a previous version of themselves. They took the first point handily in Ilios and went on to convince us that the first 2 games were a fluke and win the series 3-2. GG! Thank you for watching the Game Haus Overwatch League recap. Tune in each day after the games to get our condensed version of the action. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, from our house to yours, keep it here with the Game Haus for all your sports and esports needs.